get us started.
Sure, great. Thank you everyone for being here. I do believe we should start with a call to order.
I can hear you, Bill.
You can hear me? Okay.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. According to the agenda, we should start with a roll call of the members. So could I ask for that, please?
Okay, we'll go ahead and do roll call. Get my volume up here. Okay, Bill Carpenter.
Here.
Mark Flowers.
Doesn't look like he's on yet.
Okay. Taylor Ansley.
Here.
John France. Bill Hartwell.
Bob Hartwell.
Here,
Bob Hartwell.
here, can you hear me?
George Peterson. Mashika Jefferson.
Here.
Joseph Cassidy.
Here.
Michelle Portman.
Present. Oh, Nishika's there.
Okay, and Mashika Jefferson. Okay, and Meletta Goddard. Okay. Did Mark Flowers? All right, we have quorum. All right, Bill.
Yep, thank you. Again, welcome everybody. Glad you're here. The next order of business is an approval of the minutes. The minutes were sent out earlier this week. Do we have both a motion to approve and any comments, corrections regarding the minutes?
Motion to approve, Joe Cassidy.
And do we have a second?
Second, Taylor Ansley.
Great. Is there any discussion, edits for the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the minutes?
We actually have to get a roll call vote because we're virtual.
Got it. So roll call
Yeah.
vote for approving of the minutes, please.
Okay, so Bill Carpenter,
Yes.
Mark Flowers, Taylor Ansley,
Approved.
Taylor, I'm sorry,
Oh, sorry. Approved.
do you approve? Okay, thank you.
Yes.
John France, Bob Hartwell,
Abstain.
George Peterson, Mashika Jefferson,
Approve.
Joseph Cassidy,
Approve.
Michelle Portman,
Approve.
Meletta Goddard, all right, so we have 5 approved, 1 abstain.
Approved.
Okay, we have approved.
Great. Well, thank you for that. I do believe that at some point, William and I can talk a little bit about a conversation we had earlier about the retreat and all that. But I think since we didn't quite get through it last time, why don't we go through, it looks like department updates and information around the agenda next. So why don't we move towards that, and I'll turn things over to the department staff, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone had a restful, thankful, and blessed Thanksgiving holiday. And if you were like me, I probably had 6 servings of everything, and I've been paying for it ever since. I did want to mention, I know that at our last meeting, we had a an approval. I think we presented an item and asked for approval for a purchase of some property where there was an abandoned church, and there was some kind of bad things going on there. Chair, I would like to provide an update to the commission that item, recreation's involvement in that item has been pulled out entirely. We're not associated with that project in order for it to be green space. Didn't necessarily necessitate that it be our responsibility. City council did approve to move forward with that, but without any type of involvement from the Recreation and Parks Department, without any funding from the Recreation and Parks Department, without anything. It is a nuisance in a way, but the city's going to move forward with whatever improvements to that site they feel is necessary. But I did want to provide that update to you because I know we spent quite a few time talking about that, quite a bit of time talking about it. But wanted to make sure you knew that the latest and greatest in regards to the item, and happy to answer any questions before we move into further departmental updates.
Are there any questions from the committee regarding how the city handled the purchase of that property? Hearing none, William, I believe we'll return it back to you.
Okay. Commissioner, I have one more. Anytime we take an item or I present an item in front of City Council, which I'm preparing to do as we speak, I want to try to let you know kind of what that item is, give you an opportunity to ask questions. But we are currently, as many of you know, we hired a landscape golf course architect, Richard Mandel, to begin doing some work for us at Winston Lake Park. As part of those improvements, Richard did a tour. He's done several tours, not only with myself and with representation from the city manager's office. He's also hosting a series of ride-alongs with various users of Winston Lake Golf Course to kind of explain the plan. Ultimately, and although it's going to look weird, it's going to be a very strenuous process. It's going to look really strange in terms of how the money's being spent. But the recommendation that we're going to be presenting in front of council that I would like to share with you is that the majority, phase one, and the majority of that money will be involved in just strictly tree removal. And when I say tree removal, it's pretty substantial. Looking at a total of about 50 acres of just raw tree removal. Throughout his assessment, the determination was made that the health of the golf course is directly attributed to the number of trees that we have on that golf course. It impacts the wind direction and the ability for the golf course to breathe. It creates areas of shade along throughout the golf course where we can't grow grass. And that includes the fairways, the greens, tee boxes, so on and so forth. And so the first order of business, first round of business there at the golf course is going to be strictly tree removal. After we complete that and we kind of go through one growing season, we'll be able to kind of determine if we did enough. But there isn't anything else that we can do at that golf course to make any sort of improvements with the type of tree canopy cover that we have. And so that is, I'll be preparing an item to go to General Government Committee, the City Council just as an informational item to kind of get them brought up to speed in terms of the ways that our consultant and our staff are saying that money should be best spent as part of phase one. So I wanted to make sure that I presented that information in front of you. Whenever we get the informational item complete, there'll be some slides and some pictures associated with it. But Bill, I'll make sure we get that information out to you and the rest of the commission members so you'll have a chance to look at that. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions at that point.
Perhaps that will help me lose fewer balls on that course.
I think it should help tremendously. I mean, it's one of the I guess complaints that we get all the time is like you have to buy so many balls to go out there, and we know those things aren't cheap. But I think that the trees are wonderful. Don't get me wrong, I don't like. We've made a point since my tenure here to replace every tree that we remove and with planting 2 more on our park property. But we just can't really manage this golf course with the amount of tree cover. Since the golf course was built to now, there are tons of scrub things that are growing up. You have limited sight lines. So it just makes it very difficult to play and enjoy as a golf course. We're going to clean that up. Major rounds going to be going and doing a lot of tree removal, and it could be on the upward end of. I wouldn't be surprised if it was up near $1 million worth of just tree clearing. So,
William and Bill, I have a question related to the golf courses. I wonder if I'm not a golfer myself, but I know a lot of them. It sounds like Bill's one, and I know John is very active as well. Wondering if there's any desire or appetite for more of an advisory committee around the golf courses specifically as kind of a branch of this commission. I was struck by the biking commission presentation we received while we gathered together last time, that there might be kind of more of a affinity group right around that. I mean, if Greg needs someone for a pickleball committee, I'm your guy, but I'm not really the golfing pro. So I just wonder if there might be some appetite for that, especially with some big plans around those courses. I mean, I'm struck by the deferred maintenance. The golf courses represent such a huge chunk of all that deferred maintenance because they are such huge projects. I just wonder if there's maybe an area for us to tap into some folks who are really into that particular topic.
Taylor, in a normal world, I'm good either way. In a normal world, Taylor, what you're saying, or what you're asking or suggesting makes a lot of sense. Those waters right now are so muddy. I think that at this point, we've developed some pretty clear direction in terms of which way we need to go. I think the benefits from that subcommittee that you're mentioning would be extremely helpful in making sure that we don't get back here, that we don't end up in this situation again. So I'll be interested to know your thoughts on that. There are a ton of people that have their teeth dug into the next steps at this golf course. I think it would limit the effectiveness of anything that the commission or even myself getting any more involved in it than I am. I think it would reduce the amount of effectiveness we'd have. However, making sure that we don't get back to this point again, and making sure that we want to maintain open dialogue with everyone so that we don't end up here again, I think that's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, I'd be
Thank you.
curious to know if anybody else has any other thoughts on that topic. I mean, I just think it's an area where I know it's such a big project for the department and such a big piece of your work. I don't know that we as a commission have the bandwidth to give it the right amount of help, to help move that thing along. And so I just wonder if that's an area where we might, and there are probably other areas like it too that we might explore. Maybe Bill, this speaks to your retreat idea and identifying where there might be some of those areas, but just curious.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually part of like the whole, I mean, where I hear William saying is it's part of the future proofing of things, right? Like how do we consider, making sure that stuff doesn't go south again. William, just for my own education, I know there's Reynolda Golf Course and Winston Lake. What other city golf courses do we oversee?
Those are the only two. So we have Reynolds Park and then Winston Lake. Reynolds Park is contracted out, and Greg and his team manage that contract. Renata works with their maintenance team to make sure that their needs are met and capital needs are met. Winston Lake is actually staffed with city staff, and so that one is currently being managed in-house.
Yeah, I mean, Winston Lake is it has the potential to return to being a real jewel for the city. I mean, it's in a part of town that I think really benefits from that service. It is a beautiful course if it were to get cleaned up, and it's challenging, and there's a great history to it as well. So I do think we supporting whatever work needs to happen there, and then making sure we're future proofing that should be really important to us.
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. And as we go through this process, if there's anything that kind of stands out that I feel like you guys need to know, just in case you get any phone calls, or if you go out there, you'll kind of know what's going on. Like I would share that information throughout the progression of this project. Renata and her team are taking the lead on it. There is a meeting. Renata, is it isn't it the 7th? Or is it the 5th?
It's the 7th. I happen to be looking at it right now.
Yeah, so so there's a meeting, and that's kind of for the public to kind of give them an opportunity to come in and provide some feedback. I will not be at that meeting. I have a previous engagement that I must attend, but it's going to give the community an opportunity to come out, talk about what they feel works or what doesn't work at the golf course, gather that data, go back and continue to refine whatever our plans are to move forward. But very typical when we're working on projects this large.
You know this, Will, as much as anybody, but the rhetoric around tree removal has to be very careful. I mean, you're gonna, I think when you look at housing developments, for example, that come in and just mow down 30 acres of trees to build houses, and the neighborhood kind of, in those cases, perhaps rightfully get upset. But I mean, as the department's moving forward with this, how it's presented, I think is very, very important.
Yeah, and yes, you're exactly right. It's one of the things I also mentioned to the consultant when we first met. Normally what I would do is reach out to the Audubon Society, schedule a walkthrough or schedule a time for them to kind of get out on the site, walk through and tell us what they see. Because they know exactly what to look for. I believe the approach with Winston Lake is when the golf course was built, it didn't have this many trees. It didn't have a lot of these mature trees. It didn't have a lot of these scrub pines and a lot of this understory brush that creates sightline issues. And so I believe the approach is to kind of get it back to what it should be, but also coming up with a plan to keep it from getting back to this point. But the tree canopy and the tree cover there at Winston Lake is a direct result of what happens when it's not being managed. And so, and it's not anyone's fault. It's just it's part of one of the things you have to deal with when you're managing golf courses. You have to have some sort of long-term plan. So that's the approach that we're taking. That's kind of the dialogue that we'll be having with the community, and hopefully they'll buy in. But we can't make that golf course what it needs to be without removing the trees that have grown up. And a lot of what's being taken out is what has sprouted and grown that really shouldn't be there in the first place.
Great. In the interest of time, I just want to ask the committee if there's any other questions or comments or suggestions for William, or if not, we'll let William move on to his next update. Okay, William, hearing none.
Uh-oh.
Whoever that was, I'm sorry, would you repeat what you just asked?
Okay, we can go ahead and get started with the department updates. Greg, you want to get started first with those special use facilities?
Yeah, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Rounding up a really busy time of the year for us. It's been really successful. Done a number of different things. At the weekend, we had the Moravian Star workshop over at Historic Bethabara and Christmas at Bethabara as well. Dan Overby, who you met when we met in person, has been doing a really fantastic job over there. We are going to be seeking an assistant historic park supervisor over there. So one of the things that we're going through right now is looking at the job description. That person takes a real lead with our educational programming. We work with hundreds of school kids that come and visit us every single year. So that person is really key in the operation to the park. At Salem Lake, we've been doing a scavenger hunt for the month. We've given out 100 of them. 28 people have completed it so far. It was meant to be more of a kids and family engagement. We've had several adults come and join us and take them away. So it's 28 for the kids. We've given out 30 to adults. Only had 6 back, so might be more challenging than we thought. Or maybe the kids are better at it. We'll have to see. On the 14th of December, we work with wildlife, and they put in trout into the lake every year. So on the 14th, they're going to be putting trout in Winston Lake. It's actually really interesting. They come with a tanker, and they literally shoot the fish out into the lake. So if you happen to be around, it was actually a really big news article last year. I had several phone calls about it. So if you do want to see some fish shooting out of a tank, the 14th is going to be your best bet. One of the big success stories with special facilities is our youth athletics. It's a big passion of mine. I've mentioned it each time. But we just ran up youth soccer, had about 300 kids join us for soccer. If we roll back a few years ago, I think I mentioned this before, we've had like 17 kids. So a huge increase in the program. Numbers, really important to us is program quality. Again, I've probably said this before, but we feel like there should be $1 million worth of value for every kid that comes out. And, they're playing, if they're playing soccer, it's like the Premier League on a Saturday, and they're playing for Arsenal or Tottenham or Aston Villa, which is my own personal team. It's really good. And I had some pictures that I was going to bring to the last one to see the engagement between not just the kids, but the parents or whoever looks after the kids, because there's a lot of conversations, a lot of neighborhoods that come together. So it's a true community event, which is really cool. Going to be doing the same with basketball. We had 362 kids join us last year. We're a little bit over that for this year, which is great. Have a really high retention rate in youth athletics. When we're together in person, I'd like to bring in Alonzo, who does some of our youth athletics stuff. Really good. He's great with the kids. Other thing I want to talk about is golf. We mentioned it before. We ran a program in the summer for 5 young ladies teaching golf over an 8-week period, and we gave them free golf clubs, passes to really successful. They're looking to do some more programming this coming year. Golf is majority male dominated. It's really great to see young ladies out there, and they did an incredible job. Like, there's a really cool video on our Facebook page. And then finally, our therapeutic recreation division are doing the Special Olympics bowling. That's on the 8th of December and the 15th. And their spring games, which is going to be at JDL Fast Track. It's like a mini Olympics, April 17th through 19th. If you want to mark your calendar, really we'd like to see you there. But that's some of the main things. But thank you.
Okay, Leah?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I know it sounds really early in the year, but we are already in the process of working for summer hiring. We are starting our summer timeline. We are looking at our summer camps. We were looking at aquatics. We're seeing what we need. And so the next couple of months, I'll be reaching out to commission members to help everybody recruit lifeguards and playfield leaders for us. I know it's November, no, it's already December, but it seems very early in the year to have this conversation. But for recreation, we actually start our summer in February, and that's with our recruitment and everything. So you'll start hearing me talk a little bit more about that, what our needs are, summer camp programs, aquatics, and all that fun stuff. Also, since it is December, I just can't believe it's December already. We're prepping up for the holidays. We are going to do a big push on social media the next couple of weeks called We Play Healthy. Essentially what this is, every year around December, January, New Year's resolutions, you've had a little time to sit, be jolly with your friends and family, eat a little too much. And then everybody starts thinking about wellness and health. And you start looking at the scale and thinking, I can do better. So what we're going to do is we're doing a push to highlight some of our programs that we have in recreation. We do a whole lot that we don't talk about and people don't know. One of our hardest things is trying to figure out how do we get the word out about what we do. So we're going to do a big social media push focusing on mental and physical health. So it doesn't just always have to be, I think there's a correlation between your mental abilities and your physical abilities. If you're not feeling good mentally, then you don't want to go physically be healthy sometimes. So we are going to do a push on both types of programs on the next couple of weeks. So if you're not following our social media, and hopefully if you guys do have social media, everybody is, they're seeing what we're doing, you'll start to see some programs and hopefully getting educated on programs and activities that you didn't realize we have. For example, I think this is often overlooked. When it gets cold outside, people tend to move in for recreation, and some of the things that you're used to doing might get lost, like walking. I'm a big walker. I like the greenways, but when like even right now, below 50 degrees, I'm not going outside. So I have to find an alternative place. Haynes Hosiery has a walking track. So if you don't visit the facility, you may not know that there's a walking track upstairs open to the public to use. So we're going to put those kind of posts out there, hopefully educating the public and getting some new members to come join us for some of the activities that we host. A couple other things I want to make sure that we get to Renata. We are hosting winter break camp. So when school's out, we always want to make sure that we have something for our youth to do. So the next couple of weeks, we will have winter camp. So if you know any elementary age children that need a place to hang out, contact us. We usually fill up in several of our locations. And we are also hosting, which I think is always fun. And Greg's team is always very generous to let us host it over at Salem Lake, is the New Year's Eve party. This is a great event for families. It's kind of geared towards younger children and families, but we get a little everybody. We do lots of arts and crafts, a lot of, the party makers, the hats, the noise makers. Essentially, we count down to noon, and when the noon hits on December 30th, we will drop balloons and have a big celebration for the little ones that typically are not going to stay up till midnight with you on the true New Year's Eve. So that one's always a great time. So that is all I have for y'all. If you have any questions, just let me know.
Leah and Greg, I would like to say thank you. And it's someone who's has not always been greatly informed about what has been going on. It is a wonderful and wonderfully diverse slate of programs and events. I want to applaud you. And if there's ways in which this committee could help strategize communications, marketing, social media, please let's have conversations about that, because you may already be drawing enough crowds, but if there's ways to advance that, I think this committee could be, if this committee could help in that, I would like to see it do so.
Yeah, that'd be wonderful. One of our biggest challenges is getting the word out to people. When I worked at Miller Park, I'd have people walk by the facility and they'd go, "Oh, I've lived here for 45 years and I never knew what this was." And they probably would have never known if I wasn't out there standing on the steps talking to somebody and inviting people in. Even though our parks, people drive by our parks all the time. Had a conversation with somebody the other day that's lived in Winston-Salem the majority of their life. They have never gone to Salem Lake. And, I had to kind of remind myself, I work in recreation and parks, so therefore I know what we have and all of our amenities, but it just kind of shocked me. So first thing I did is I sent them our link and I said, well, now you should know. So I think anytime that any of the flyers, and if you need them in different formats, let us know. We'll be more than happy to send it to you so you can share. Also, social media. We have a team that works on it. Laura does a great job just getting on social media and hitting those shares and likes for us.
Yeah, and I would, if there's any way we could help with the social media strategy. I'm over here at SECA. It's the same thing. People, I've lived in Winston my whole life, never been to SECA, didn't know it was there, kind of thing. It's not until we get people out on social that they see it. So if there's ways, and even if there's ways to bring in consultants or something to boost that, I think that might be a valuable investment for the department.
Absolutely. Thank you.
We actually do have a way that you guys can help. Laura's going to talk a little bit about that at the end, I believe, but we do have a way that you guys can help us kind of spread the word and get some information out to others.
Great. Thank you.
Good evening. Just wanted to actually just go over some things as far as capital projects that I'm working on. We're hoping as things slow down that we're able to get more things out on the street as of right now. Currently right now, what we have in the workings and what we're working on now, as Director Royston has already spoken about, is Winston Lake Golf Course. As you see with the flyer that's up on your screen, there will be an input meeting that will be held on December 7th. It will begin at 6 p.m. and as you say, selected, and then just for the citizens, please come by, please give your input. And as we stated, phase 1 is basically tree removal, but we're looking for your input, looking for what is it that they like to see. We did have a small input meeting there last week, had some great feedback from those that actually use the golf course and use it more on a frequent basis, and some things they would like to see, things of that nature. But again, as we asked them for some patience, because as we say, we didn't get here overnight, so it's not going to be overnight before we turn it around. Outside of that, just some projects that we're working on. things that have come in for bid. So we're hoping within the next 2 months to kick those off into the construction phase. We did get the bids and things back come in for the Salem Lake Pier. So we're hoping that that's going to kick off in the next couple of months. We did have Hodgins Construction actually came back and was the architect designer on that piece. They are actually the same ones that actually did Winston Lake Pier over there. So hopefully they'll come in and do just as much as a great job as they did there. Another thing we'll be kicking off is Granville Park. All paperwork and things are in for Granville Park. Contractors ready to start. So we're looking for construction to begin out there around February and March. We're actually finishing up the tennis court resurfacing out there at Granville Park. So we're hoping to have that done by the end of January. Right now we're putting the second coat on there, but then it all depends too on the weather for actually striping the court and putting the top layer on there too. So we're hoping that it does stay a little warm so we can get that done and citizens will be backing up and able to play tennis out there. Nelson Malloy Phase 2 has been under construction, looking to come to an end. We're hoping that she will finish hopefully by the end of January. Currently, right now, we're waiting on, we will be installing what we call an all-inclusive swing for those that are physically challenged. That is due to arrive this month. So once that arrives, that will be the major thing that they will be inputting. And once that get in, they will be starting to put the final touches on that project. That particular project has upgrades going in regards to the walking trail. We've come in and put what we call impervious concrete, which is very porous and it actually has the water it goes through. It is better than the rock dust and things that was out there for those that are physically challenged for actually walking our trails. Other projects that we have that's coming down the pipeline that we're finishing. As you know, tennis court resurfacing, Schaffner Park is completed, Lineback completed, Granville we're looking to have completed in January, and Oak Summit is completed. And as we know, Oak Summit was a hybrid court with pickleball, so that one is completed as well as Sedge Garden. We're looking to rebid as the weather changes for Little Creek and Old Town, which will be also pickleball courts. I'm currently working on some parking lot resurfacing, tidying up what we have in the design phase with Westcott. We did some proof rolling the other day on certain locations that was very interesting for us. Looks like those passed proof rolling. So we're hoping to be moving into the new phase as soon as the weather rises and the weather gets a little bit warm and we're able to come out with some asphalt, and we'll do a little bit of curb and gutter on some particular locations. I've spoke to you about Winston Lake Golf Course. Outside of that, you know, we have a lot of projects that we're looking to put on the street. As of right now, we're getting ready to embark in what we call our capital projects or capital improvement plan. We'll be putting my head together with my staff. We'll be sitting down with Director Royston. We will be seeing what is it and what is new, what needs to happen, which is improvements here within Winston-Salem. Not trying to see what's coming up with new because we need to catch up with what we got going on with the new, but what can we do? What can we do to improve what we do have? Other than that, Washington Park Shelter number 1, the one that burnt down a while back, that one will be going up under construction. They have actually started and have demoed the base of it. Contractors putting together all everything together there that needs to be done so we can start building on that, and hopefully we have that new shelter up and running either by late summer. Bellevue Community Center. Bellevue Community Center is complete. We received certificate of occupancy last week. I think we walked the facility with council members, with Leah Friend and some of her staff, SOAR participants or coordinator there, Director Royston. The building turned out very, very great. It looks good. Right now, what we're doing is we're coming in and we're putting just finishing touches on things on the outside, as well as contractors touching up some things on the inside. But Bellevue is complete. So we look forward to seeing what Leah has out there and what she's going to do with her programming. Outside of that, basically the only other thing, we're working on one golf course, looking to go ahead and take a look at Reynolds Park Golf Course. Basically, we received funding, I will say last year, for 2/3 bonds. And I'm looking to come in and working with them on replacing 2 bridges that they have over there. So we're going to get that evaluated, and hopefully we can start on that and give them some improvements over there, as well as we're giving improvements over at Winston Lake Golf Course. So basically what now I think we have on the street for Leah on your side, we have Sprague Street Recreation Center. It is out on the street right now, looking for proposals in regards to coming in and doing some improvements over there for her. So that's basically just the top of the nutshell of what I got going on. So any questions, we'll be glad to answer. Thank you.
Renata, thank you very much. I'll open the, that sounds like a lot of work and great work. Thank you for that. Does anyone on the committee have any questions for Renata or any of the other presenters?
Chair, I didn't have I mean, of course I don't have a question, but something that we've been telling people, I mean, being more honest with people about lately is the amount of work, not just recreation, but city as a whole is I guess kind of undertaking and trying to do the best it can to get it complete. COVID, I don't know if the city has really completely recovered from the employment, what I call crisis, mini crisis because of COVID. Yeah, a lot of employees started wearing several different hats. Felicia's a textbook case for that. Renata's been doing a number of different things. Greg's been doing a number of things. Leah, we all have. And we kept getting additional work, but we weren't getting resources to get it all done. And so, although Renata is, even when she was being very honest about hitting the tip of the iceberg in terms of what she's working on, we all are and have been extremely busy. And I was talking to someone this morning. I've never seen a December this busy. I have meetings scheduled all the way up to like December 19th, 20th. Like, it's typically people take off, but my December is at a point now where I'm not going to take any additional meetings. So I haven't explained that to Kathy yet, but her and I will get on the same page unless it's an emergency at the conclusion of this one. But just hats off to Leah, Greg, Renata, Felicia, like all of the staff that are out there making this thing happen. Like, people like to look at me for credit for a lot of this stuff. Honestly, it's these guys that are getting this work done for you. So I just want to take the time to publicly say thank you.
That's really great. Thank you for everybody for that. I think that wraps up department updates and information. And I think we can move to business. I believe there might actually be two items of business. There's the discussion of the January 2024 meeting, and then it looked like there may be another proposal from the department. Is that correct?
Sorry, I was muted. Kathy, can you get back up to the agenda, please?
Sorry, technical difficulties here. Kathy and I are in the same office, so we're trying to stop the feedback. So we actually are going to let Laura Tanney, who's our special projects coordinator, talk about our We Play celebration. This is the opportunity that I mentioned earlier for you guys to give us some help and help share your networking with us. So, Laura?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'll fill in some time till they figure out the technical difficulties. So we have We Play Celebration. This is an annual end of year staff lunch celebration. It's always in December. It's at Salem Lake. We have food trucks, and it's from 11 to 2 on next Friday, December 15th. So what We Play Celebration is, it's just a day that all staff members can come together to celebrate the end of the year and a year of getting hard work completed, and then getting to socialize with everyone. So this year's food trucks, we have Big Move Cheesesteaks, Fresh Catch Seafood Shack, and Hope Truck Food Co. If you're not familiar with Hope Truck Food Co., I wasn't either until a few weeks ago. They are a local food truck that actually gives back their proceeds to their community. They're based out of Wahlberg. So they are 100% nonprofit. So what we do for this is we have tickets that have an assigned price to them. We give them out to staff as they show up. They check in, they get a ticket. They take that ticket to the food truck of their choice, and they get to eat for free from that food truck for the amount that's on that ticket. We are inviting all commission members to come out as well. You'll have your meals covered as well for just like staff. So like I said, 11 to 2 next Friday at Salem Lake. There's also desserts. Every year we get desserts from Publix, usually like cupcakes, cookies, that sort of thing. We'll have drinks there that Renata and her team bring out and provide. There's also going to be, I don't have one readily available, but I'm sure several people on this call have one of the little We Play cups. Those will be handed out this year. They come in 4 different colors: blue, orange, pink, and green, I believe. So yeah, it'll be a great event. We're going to have Recreation Park staff there. Fleet Services is going to be there. PFM is also going to be there, along with the new sustainability director. Our assistant city manager, Aaron King, is also going to be in attendance as well, if you'd like to meet him, if you haven't already had the chance to. Down on the next one. So part of this celebration, every year we do a donation drive to benefit a local charity in our community. This year we are doing Life Winston-Salem Inc. They collect different donated items and raise money for homeless families in the community. So we've been doing a donation drive since November 13th. It'll go through next Friday, so the We Play celebration. You can either bring a donated item to Salem Lake at the celebration, or anytime between now and December 15th, you can drop it off at a recreation center and hand it to a staff member, or bring it to the Bryce Stewart building or City Hall, and we have collection boxes on the first floor. You can see a full list of everything that we're collecting as well. So it's mostly towards women and children. There's some stocking stuff for items. We're buying quite a bit of stockings to hand out to kids so they can have something for Christmas, along with non-perishable food items, snacks, that sort of thing. So if you can also spread the word about this donation drive, Life Winston-Salem is doing a holiday festival for the homeless at Martin Luther King Jr. Community Center on Wednesday, December 20th from 2 to 5, where all these items are going to be handed out to homeless families in our community. So we would love to have a big turnout of items to give them. That's everything.
Laura, thank you very much. Is there a cash donation option as well?
That was not discussed, but I do believe another department in the city is collecting cash donations, so I doubt they would turn away money. So if we have money, we'll give it to them as well.
It's very Laura, thank you. But there are a lot of issues that plague our community, but as all of us live, work, and play here, I think people, we can talk about homelessness all the time. I almost felt bad that I couldn't feel proud about saying something of that our department has done to help in that regard. And so this is, to me, it's just a no-brainer. I mean, the Christmas season is about giving, and there's some people in our community who cannot do that for themselves, and this is basically the essence of what we do. We're givers. So hats off to my staff for taking this on and making it happen. But it's going to be, I think it's going to be a successful event. It's going to be a lot of people there, and it's just one of those real feel-good moments that we'll be able to go back and celebrate after it's complete.
Okay, if we're ready to continue with the agenda, the first item of business was the poll results for the January 2024 meeting, which I think would have been on January 2nd, which I know is technically a work day, but it's also the first day back. So I'm not sure if we want to take an official vote or we want to look at the poll results. Kathy or Felicia, if you want to let me know how you want to handle that.
I can't.
It seemed like the poll said that we should postpone till February. Do we need an official vote, or does that count?
I believe that would count. However, we feel more comfortable with a vote. That way we have it on record that it's something that the commission wanted to do.
Okay, so I would, if we're going to, I'm going to assume that it's been offered and seconded, or do we need to also sort of make a motion and second?
I would probably prefer to do a motion and then second, even if it were, if we had it. in the
Okay,
minutes,
now.
just
Okay.
here's one thing.
All right,
but-
I'm going to call the roll to make sure that we have it on record about next meeting. Bill Carpenter,
Yes, but have we made a motion yet? I mean, I'm just asking how you want to go.
There we go. Now we can, let's try that again. We're just gonna use my laptop
Yeah.
for. Sorry, too many computers. Okay,
okay, so let me call roll and we'll have record for it. Bill Carpenter,
Yeah.
Mark Flowers,
I guess the motion is to postpone.
Taylor Ansley,
In favor of postponing.
John France,
John France.
Bob Hartwell,
No.
George Peterson, Mashika Jefferson,
Yes.
Joseph Cassidy,
Yes.
Michelle Portman,
No.
Maletta Goddard. All right, so we have five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1, 2, 3 against. 5, 4, 3 against.
Okay, according to that vote, that motion to postpone till February passes. Is there any other business for this meeting?
No, there is not.
Okay, was the information in the packet regarding the field at Wiley, was that informational or is that for some other time?
That was actually part of the minutes from last month.
But it was information that didn't require a vote. It was a sharing of information. In order to move forward, I had a conversation with my boss this morning on how he wants to proceed with that, and I'll get with Greg and share that information with him. But to me, it's a win-win situation. Greg supports it, I support it. We just don't have the capacity to kind of grade out that field and make it usable. We're going to approach it very delicately because of the perception with home field advantage. So we'll manage that. We'll make sure that everybody's benefiting and getting what they need out of this deal.
William, if I could just take 1 minute of, I guess, chair privilege. You and I had a conversation earlier this month, or no, it must have been last month because it is already early this month. Last month, about the potential, the retreat and what we wanted to see out of that and where we're headed. Is there anything, would you like to add? Would you like to sort of summarize that for folks? Would you like me to do it? I mean, or is there anything you would like to have kind of out on the record about that?
Chair, I could summarize that, but I think if it's you all's retreat, I mean, I think it would be beneficial for the commission to hear that from your perspective, and I can offer any sort of support and fill in any gaps as needed.
Okay, sure. I mean, we spoke generally about what we would hope to accomplish, and we spoke in detail, I think, about this committee's role to be a representative of the citizens of the city, and to also sort of support the department in whatever way it could. And we wanted to make sure that we could have a retreat where we were talking about what that looked like, and also about what sort of strategic pillars the department might want to articulate moving forward. And the retreat would be for the committee members and the staff, and as a way to get to know each other and to talk through some of these issues. And we also thought about maybe having it at a location offsite where, maybe even out of the city, where we get to see what another municipality is doing with their rec and parks funding and programming, and perhaps even look for an outside, what's the word I'm looking for? Someone to lead that discussion. I just drew a blank on the word, but so yeah. So I think that's where we're at, and if people remain comfortable, we don't have to put it to a vote. The subcommittee can meet this month. I can call that, or next month. We were thinking of March as a moment for that as well. William, let me know if I missed anything or if there's any context that would be helpful.
No, I think you pretty much covered everything. I know one of the suggestions that we did talk about was maybe going to Kernersville. I think sometimes it's good to kind of get out of our own environment and kind of see what's offered in our neighboring cities. We work very closely with Kernersville on some things, as well as Greensboro and High Point. But bringing in someone to kind of go over what those goals and objectives are, and kind of where you want to position, where the commission would like to position themselves as moving forward. I think at the end of the day, it'd be beneficial to have these key ideas that we're focusing on as a group, and then being able to celebrate that whenever we're able to move some dirt and make some progress. I do think that topic of discussion, Chair, would need to be probably kind of heavily discussed at our next meeting. In terms of what those goals would be, kind of how the structure of that meeting will go, and you and I can have some conversation between now and then to kind of work out those details, even though we're not meeting in January. I want to make sure that the time is meaningful, and that we're all able to take away something from that. But I think it'll be fun and very beneficial to everyone.
I would suggest that the subcommittee and you get together perhaps early January, so that we can work through that and create an agenda item for the February meeting, with the hope then that we are having the retreat in March. And maybe we could go ahead and start booking that, just to have the space, to make sure that way we don't miss our date if we want it. And then we can think about who might facilitate and how we would want to go about that. I'm open to the committee. I'd like to open the committee for other ideas or processes. That would be my suggestion.
Bill and William, the only question I've got, if the commission, if the web page is correct, it looks like 5 members have our terms ending May of 24. Do we want to be having a retreat in March with and again, if the information on the web page is correct, all 5 of us were at the end of our second term. So I forget if we're able to do more than 2 terms, but do you want to do a retreat knowing in 2 months you've got several members that are going to roll off?
Yeah, William and I spoke about this, and I think our thinking was there's a great deal of experience with those folks, and history, right, and understanding of where things went. And so I think the conversation is richer for that. And I would like to have those perspectives there. Even with you might roll off 3 months later, there's still 3 months of meetings after that to be thinking about as well. William, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, Bill. I think that Joe, it's we did discuss that. We're aware of that, but I think that over the past, say, 6 years or so, I've watched commission members rotate in and rotate off. Those that rotate in usually have the same questions. What are we supposed to do? Like, what should we be working on? This is going to help lay that groundwork so that when those commission members do roll off in May, commission members that roll in will know exactly what they need to be focusing on. We'll be able to hit the ground running. And using the experience of these 5 members that will be rolling off, I think Bill hit the nail on the head. It's going to be critical in figuring out the way that needs to happen. So I think there isn't a better time to do it with the amount of experience that we have on the commission currently, and seeing that we want to keep this train moving and keep it moving forward. So I think it'll be extremely helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Before I ask for a motion to adjourn, are there any other comments or feedback on that or any other issue? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Joe Cassidy.
And a second, please.
Seconded, Taylor Ainsley.
Roll call vote to adjourn, I guess, please. Thank you.
Bill Carpenter,
Sure.
Mark Flowers, Taylor Ansley,
Yes.
John France, not here, Bob Hartwell,
Yes.
George Peterson, Rashika Jefferson,
Yes.
Joe Cassidy,
Yes, and happy holidays, everybody.
Michelle Portman,
Yes.
Maletta got it. Okay.
Thank you, everyone. We hope to see you at We Play.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great holiday season.